Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video, and in this, this is a first for me on this channel. I've been wanting to do content on this, but I haven't really have got the chance to do it. But now with the final series starting up this weekend, starting this weekend, I should say. I thought it would be no better time to delve into it, into a league that's that is for me as a bit of Australian bias here, criminally underwatched in the world's game, and that is the A League. I haven't watched as much A League as I would want to. I mean, now with it being on Paramount Plus and Network 10, I do have Paramount Plus to watch it. Actually, for correction, it is my mum's account, my mother's account as Paramount Plus. I know she's watching. Hi, mum. Thanks for Paramount Plus, by the way. So I just wanted to point that out. But for me, from what I've heard, this year. It is just gone bananas. This A League season, especially especially surrounding Auckland SC, how their debut season, and they've gone from that to obviously ending the home and away season as minor premiers and winning the Premier's Plate as well, and then other games as well have just been bonkers. I mean, the scoreline's just been ridiculous, like 3-2 score lines, 4-3 score lines, 5-4 score lines. Absolutely ridiculous. And I read somewhere on Twitter /X. I know X is a terrible name. Please, Elon Musk, reconsider naming it Twitter again, please. That it was brought me a couple of thing was like 2-3 weeks ago that in one of the recent weeks they hit 500 collectively between all teams, between all games in the A League this season, 500 goals in 150 matches in this season, and it also came up that no season in the history of Australian football, it not just the A League, but it's combined also with the previously now defunct, obviously, fair few years ago, National Soccer League here in Australia. No season has got to 500 goals scored quicker, collectively, combined between all the teams, which is absolutely bonkers, and it just equates to, it's not as, eyeballsy as, like you see in the Premier League or in La Liga or the Bundesliga or all those big leagues. But for me, I remember reading an article just before I pressed record on this episode, on this video, by the way. And I think somewhere on the A League website, I just read recently that I think something along the lines of, let me try and find it. Here it is. Four A League clubs apparently are ranked inside the top 100 global list in the world. And those two, across 65 leagues. So basically, in amongst under 21 matches, minutes played, nonetheless. reading this here, Adelaide United lead the way, the 18 teams out of the A-League teams, I should say, coming in at a number 50 with 36%. Coming with 36%, which is a higher rate there. And then you got then afterward, which they were placed 50th. Then it was Western United with on 33.7% of players that have played this season that are under the age of 21, and for Adelaide United have 36%. That is a higher rating, higher percentage there. And then Melbourne City and Central Coast Mariners are on the bottom end of the top 100. I think City is 30.4, which is ranked 89th, and then Mariners are 92nd out of the top 100. I think players under 21 that have played in their leagues, which is outrageous considering that. Which would probably be mostly dominated by European teams, South American teams, and Japan teams. So yeah, most likely. So and some people might say, oh, you haven't been a fan of the A-League, but I have. I've been a fan of the A-League on and off since I was a kid. You could pretty much tell I live in Melbourne, so clearly my favorite team is Melbourne City. I tried to fool you, but you didn't. I wasn't gonna go for those cash grabbing pricks, but I clearly go for Melbourne Victory. Obviously, one of the most successful clubs in the A-League. So I'm just gonna have a drink of water and help it. So yeah. So in this video, I'm going to preview obviously the A-League finals, and plus also the first week of the finals as well. Essentially, it's basically 3 parts finals, but over 4 weeks because the semi-finals are over 2 legs. So that's quite interesting. Yeah, and it's also currently a good time for the A-League too. I mean, of course, you had Auckland FC come in this season, and then next season, and then this upcoming season will be the Canberra team. Please call it Canberra United because otherwise it would be the A-League women's team will have to change names too. Have to change names because Canberra is already in the. I always about to say it's called the W League, but it's not anymore. It's the A-League Women's. I should say. Why aren't more leagues doing this? They say, why can't AFL just go AFL Women's, AFL Men's, or Big Bash, BBL Men, BBL Women's, BBL Men's? Why can't all teams, or NBL Men's, NBL Women's? Why haven't all leagues done that? So, the A-League has. So stuff you on that. So of course the 6 teams obviously are playing off in the final series this year. Adelaide United, Melbourne Victory, Western Sydney Wanderers, Western United, Melbourne City, and Auckland FC. I think, and of course, surprisingly enough, the winner of the last 2 A-League titles, in Central Coast Mariners, had a shocker this season. Not totally a shocker, but a shocker nonetheless. Them dropping out of the final. So I've been blabbing on for the last 10 minutes. So let's get into this preview to get the ball rolling here. And we'll start off with team by team. We'll go from sixth place down to the top. We got Adelaide United. So you got Adelaide United first. So let me go on to transfermarkt.com if I can actually do it. Here we go. So Adelaide, they've been of course they've been in and around the top six for pretty much most of the season. There was that period of that 3 week spell when they were on top of the ladder. Obviously, and then from the 15th match, which was in early January, early to mid January against the Melbourne Victory, they started dropping down a little bit to the point where with the week the season left, they were on the outside looking in, and then thanks to the 0-0 draw in their last game of the home and away season against Melbourne City with a 0-0 draw, that was enough for them to secure that spot, that sixth and final spot in the A-League finals. So obviously, the home and away record was as follows. They had 10 wins for the season, 8 draws and 8 losses. They scored 53 goals, at the same time conceding 55. So they've been involved in a lot of high scoring matches. With a goal difference of -2. With 38 points scored, which is on average. I've just forgotten how to do averages again. Which is on average about 1.4. Which on average about 1.4 points per game. So pretty good going there for them. Their record against all the other top 6 finalists right now, their record was played 10 matches against the other top 6 sides. They've got a record of 4-3-3. And of course their finals record in the past. Of course, their big highlight obviously was their 2016 title. Was winning the title in 2016. Winning the title in 2016, I should say. But they haven't been successful in finals. Really, they've only won the 8 games. 8 finals matches, but they've conceded a total of 47 goals in all their finals matches. So that high scoring nature might follow them into the finals possibly. There, they've kept, and this is how much of a high scoring team scored and against Adelaide are. They've only kept 4 clean sheets for the entire season, which is a pretty low number compared to some of the best defensive teams like Melbourne City and Auckland Melbourne FC Melbourne City, I should say, and Auckland FC. We'll get to those later. So the leading goal scorer in the A-League for Adelaide United, I should say, this season is obviously is Archie Goodwin, who's also unless if he scores a goal in the game against Western United, tonight as I'm recording this. He will most likely will as well. He's as of the regular season, he's the leading goal scorer, but over the entire season, probably more than likely he will be the leading goal scorer with 13 goals. Unlucky for some. With Zach Cloud as well. The top provider for Adelaide United with 9 assists, and the most used formation this season for 22 times over this season has been the 4-2-3-1 formation using the one striker. I've learned that most A-League coaches have basically used two formations. Either they use one striker or they use two. So and we'll get to those down the line. So with Adelaide, with Adelaide United, obviously, they have not been, they've unlike the top two teams, they've alongside the other teams not necessarily been the best defense in the league, but they've also enough to score goals as well. So I think for me, they need. With them versing at Western United tonight, who are I think the top scoring team. I think equal, slightly ahead of them in terms of goals scored. I think there might be the chance that there might be some goals in it as well, which I'll get to the predictions for the elimination finals this weekend. At the very end, please stay tuned to watch those. So moving on, obviously, and then moving on to Melbourne. Moving on to one of the two Melbourne teams involved in this finals. That is the most successful one in Melbourne Victory, which despite playing in finals, they have had a very torrid time in terms of coaching. Of course, Tony Popovich. Obviously, he started the season. What was supposed to start the season there. That was until Graham Arnold resigned as Socceroos coach, and then Tony Popovich took up that role there, which was replaced by Patrick Kisnorbo, which that didn't last long because he ended up towards the end of the 2024 calendar year, he decided I've had enough of Australia. I want to go to Japan, and to a team that two Australian coaches have coached the J League titles with Yokohama F Marinos there. So and then basically. Then he was to be replaced by Arthur Dillis, which firstly it was on a caretaker role, and then he had done so well that they decided to take him on full time. And when he took over as caretaker, they were third at the time. Now and then by the time, and strangely for some reason, by the time they did decide to take him on full time, they were in sixth. That's a bit strange for that matter, but anyways, so obviously it's. So obviously a season of change all around really for Melbourne Victory. but they still qualify for finals in 5th position with 12 wins, 7 draws, and 7 losses. Scored 44 goals, conceded 36. Have a goal differential of +8 with 43 points scored. So doing the quick maths, 43 divided by 20. 43 divided by 26. That's 1.6 points per game. So pretty good going there for the victory. Their record against the other finals playing teams this season, they played 11 matches and their record is 3-4-4. So pretty interesting there. Finals record is, of course, very good, obviously. That's why they are the most successful. They've played 28 finals, can you believe it? 16 wins, 4 draws, and 8 losses. And collectively, out of all the finals they've played in, they've scored a total of 49 goals. So if they kick one on Saturday against the Western Sydney Wanderers, which we'll get to in a bit, then they'll crack the half-century mark in terms of finals goals. Probably Sydney FC would have gone, haha, congratulations, but we got it there first. So, anyways, so then basically, and then a slightly better defense than Adelaide United on this one. They've kept 8 clean sheets throughout the season. Their top goal scorers obviously are Nikos Virgos and Nishan Pillay. Both of them scoring 7 goals. It's Zinedine Matchach. That's a good name. Being the club's top provider with 7 assists, and out of the 26 games, 24 games, they had started with a formation of the 4-2-3-1. So basically, so a lot more, a lot more settled in terms of their formation, even though they've gone through 2 coaches, which is interesting there. So I think for me here, looking back at their season, if I can. Looking back at their season, as I said, going through 2 coaches, I should say, is not a good thing, because obviously, obviously going through 2 coaches not an easy thing to find yourself in, but they for me, I mean, they've same as Adelaide United. They've been in the top 6 for most of the season. The last half of the season has just been them up and down. By the 4th week they were on top, by the way. And then basically settling for 5th position in the final month of the home away season. So pretty much, pretty interesting season there. Interesting season there for them. So quite that is obviously honestly, that is good for a diamond on Melbourne Victory and its players to get the job done, even though they've been through 2 coaches. And some teams go through 2 coaches and struggle. But not Melbourne Victory, not my team on this occasion. but anyways, So moving on to team number 3, and that is the Western Sydney Wanderers, who are coming in red hot. They're currently on, I think, someone could correct me in the comments. I think it's 12 or 13. One of those two, even 12 or 13 match unbeaten streak. So I might maybe, I might maybe actually correct myself on that. So I think it's 13. To be quite honest, I can't find Western Sydney Wanderers. Here we go. So let me check this. I think it's 13. I think it's 13 matches unbeaten. 2, 4. Oh, I hate when it does that. 2, 4. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. No, I was right the first time. 12 matches. 12 matches unbeaten in the A League. So you could say right now that they are the hottest team right now in the A League right now, and of course and then obviously and it counts also to the fact that they lost Marco Rodin pre-season virtue of mutual consent, with Alan Stilinsky. I can't say. I don't know if I say Stilinsky. How did that come out of my mouth? Alan Stelic taking over. I think he's I think he's the former. He's apparently says he's a former coach of the Philippine women's side. Who cares about that, anyways? And then obviously, of course, look at their season here. They pretty much spent the majority of their season down close to the top 6, but not in the top 6. And that wasn't until like the final month or two of the home and away season where they started to even at one stage, they even went up to as high as 3rd with about 5 games to go. They were up to 3rd. And maybe challenging for a home semi-final there, but unfortunately that wasn't to be. But as I said, they're coming into the finals off a 12-match winning streak, which is shocking, really. And surprisingly enough, out of their 13, surprisingly here, as I read this here, 13 wins, 7 draws and 6 losses. 7 of those wins have come away from home. So they're a pretty good team away from home. They're 58 goals, which I think I've counted. It's the most goal. They are the most attacking team in the competition, which is amazing going. 58 goals in 26 games, conceding 40. So not bad. Not bad defense, but not great either. And also 46 points. So that on average is about 1.7 points per game, which is quite good. And then the record against the other finals playing teams, 10 games, a record of 4-2. Their finals record is, of course, they've only just been in the competition for over a decade. Their finals record's a bit rather new, bit recentish. They played 8 matches. with a record of three losses and 3 wins and five losses, I should say. Surprisingly, a finals goal differential of -1. So very good going there for them. Five clean sheets, the same as Adelaide United throughout the entirety of their season. Nicholas Milanic, I think I said that right. Has scored the most goals collectively for the Wanderers with 12 goals, with Brandon Borrello on 10. The club's top provider with 10 assists, which I think is top of the. I need to read. I need to double check this. I think that's him on top in terms of the league's top assists. I think I need to correct myself on that. Just quietly speaking, if I can actually. It's quite slow. Here we go. So I think he's the top. There we go. Most assists. If it actually loads. So here we go. I think the second is second. On his own second most assists in the season, with 10 assists, and 21 times they have used the formation of the 4-4-2, so two strikers. So they like using two strikers there. So as I said, they are currently right now probably the hottest team coming to the finals of any one of these 6 sides. Of course, 12 matches unbeaten. They haven't lost probably in about a couple of months, if I can remember rightly. Yeah, January 26th, which was Australia Day. So they haven't lost since Australia Day. So that's pretty. So that's for February, March, April, May. So they haven't lost in in just over 3 months. So that's pretty good going there. So yeah, and I think for me, I think they'll cause Melbourne Victory some troubles there on Saturday night. A break from all the teams here, so I'll go to the fixtures here. The finals fixtures here. So tonight is the first final at Ironbark Fields, which is a stadium that hosts around bugger all 1,000 people, between Western United and Adelaide United, and then you got the Wanderers and Melbourne Victory at CommBank Stadium. So yeah, and then this is how this all play out. So if there's a scenario that Western United and Western Sydney win their games, for example, or let's say Western United and Melbourne Victory win their game, then Melbourne Victory would verse Auckland FC, and then Adelaide, and then Western United would verse Melbourne City. That's where it would go. That's where it would go, because the highest ranked elimination final winner would verse Melbourne City, and then the lowest ranked would verse Auckland FC, and that semi final will be over 2 legs. So the first leg would have the top 2 teams be away from home, and then the second leg will be the top 2 teams playing at home. So it's going to be guaranteed there. Guaranteed there on the second league to have one weekend here in Melbourne and another one over in New Zealand, which is going to be fantastic. And then obviously who wins on aggregate in both those semi-finals also goes to the grand final, yada yada. So yeah, just self-explanatory really. So get a quick drink of water here. So I'm just gonna put this in because I'll just drop the lid. So I'll just drop the lid. So yeah. So pretty much, yeah. So that is the finals fixture there. They've got the final 6 and they've got elimination finals, and then they have a 2-league semi-final and a grand final. So yes, that's what. Maybe they might move to an 8-team finals now. Now there's gonna be the Canberra team, and then to make it 14. Who knows? But anyways, moving on to the top 3 teams now. We have got Western United, who have been one of the high scoring teams this season, same as Adelaide United, same with Western Sydney Wanderers, but with a better defence, just slightly. But anyways, so they have obviously scored. So ended the season obviously in 3rd position with 14 wins, 5 draws, and 7 losses. 55 goals scored, which is second, which I think is equal second only. Second only to Western Sydney. With 37 goals conceded, which means that their goal differential is a brilliant +18, which is even a better goal difference than the next team, Melbourne City. Haha, there you go. With 47 points collected, so that on average means that they've scored on average 1.8 points per game, so almost 2 points a game there for Western United. In terms of the top 6. In terms of record against the other 5 teams in the top in the finals, they've played 11 games with 4 wins, 1 draw, and 6 losses. So the record isn't particularly good against the top against the finals against finals opposition. In terms of finals, of course they, obviously the big high was obviously 3 or 4 years ago, them winning the A-League in just their second or third season. I think it was their 3rd season. I think. So yeah. So you currently got the great record in six finals matches of 4 wins and 2 losses. With them scoring 8 goals and conceding 4. For this season, they've collected 5 clean sheets. Noah Bottage is the club's top scorer with 12 goals, and their top provider is Rinku Danzakai. A very good name, that one. With 7 assists, and the most used formation for Western United is the 4-4-2 formation, which they love 2 strikers. So obviously, spent the majority of their season in the top 6. earlier part of the season wasn't looking good for them. It wasn't looking good for them, and then obviously it all came together. Like the amount of high scoring games they played in were just ridiculous. I mean, they played in a 4-3 victory over Sydney FC. Sydney FC. Then they played in the fourth. Then they also bet Melbourne victory 4-3. They bet Newcastle Jets 6-2, and I think they're one of the fair few. There's one of I think they're one of the fair few sides that have beaten the top side Auckland SC twice. One of them was 4-0 away from home, which I think that was Auckland's first ever. I know it was their first ever A-League loss, but I think it was the game where I think they conceded their first A-League goal. I think, or was it the previous week that Auckland SC did that? I don't know, but yeah, but have been in a lot of goal scoring shootouts this season. So it's gonna be pretty interesting, really, in terms of that. But yeah, so yeah, and it's for some stage, and at some stage. With a month to go in the season, with a month to go in the home and away season, they were in second and looked on course to have the week off and the advantage of having the second leg of the semi-final be played at home. But that won't happen. But of course, thanks to the loss but thanks to back-to-back losses to the Wanderers and Brisbane Roar, that paid to those hopes, and they had to settle for a third place finish and obviously be a part of the opening week of finals. So I think their firepower in attack will probably be good. Will probably be that as well. It will take them probably further on in finals, hopefully. To be honest, I can't wait to have them verse. I think for me, if there was any team that probably can topple or upset Auckland FC and have them avoid a maiden grand final appearance in their first season, it would have to be Western United. They're on that front. There. 2 teams left, and they are the top 2 teams that will not be playing this weekend, but the weekend afterwards. And that is Melbourne City and Auckland FC. Auckland FC. I just turned English for a second. So first off is Melbourne City. Of course, they ended the season with 14 wins, 6 draws, and 6 losses. They only scored 41 goals this season and then conceded 25. So one of the better defensive teams in the league. I think they're the best defensive team in the league. There was quite a few months there where Auckland was, but then thanks to Auckland's defeat in the final week of the home and away season, that led to Melbourne becoming the best defensive team in the league. 48 points, which is on average about 1.8 and a half points per game. So So that is pretty good there. They've spent pretty much almost all their season in the top six, and spent the majority of their final month of the season in the top two. Before the final month, they were only in the top two once, which was on the fourth week. After they smashed Perth Glory 5-0. But afterwards, they've just been solid. Just solid, obviously. So obviously, and then you got their record against the top six, the fellow finals. It is pretty good, to be quite honest. 11 games, a record of 4-5-2. So pretty. Sorry. I read the wrong time. Read the wrong one. That's Auckland. Sorry, my apologies. That's Auckland. That's Auckland FC. Melbourne's is actually 4-4. So a bit even there. Bit even in terms of that. And then their finals record. They've played 21 finals matches that with their record of 8 wins, 4 draws, and 9 losses. Collectively, they've collected the equal most clean sheets in the league with 11 clean sheets. Two players, Max Caputo, Marco Tilio, and Medin Mehmeti. All three of them scored 5 goals, so you can tell for the season. So you can tell they didn't score much. And then Andreas Kuhn was the club's top provider with 7 assists, and a bit of a mixed bag in terms of formation, where their most used formation was the 4-2-3-1, but they only used it 8 times. They only used it like 8 times throughout the course of the season, and probably, and it's strange considering they've only Oreo Vitmar took over pretty much from previously was caretaker. Then he was promoted to be full-time coach before the season started, and he was chomping and changing his formations, like they went from a 4-2-3-1 one week, then 4-4-2, then a 4-4-1-1, then a 4-3-3, then it basically 4-4-2-6, which is basically if it's a 4-2-2-2 formation. Then a 4-4-1-1, then a 4-1-4-1. I think I just named all the formations that that Vitmar used during the season. So maybe next season, maybe they might be a bit relaxed. He will relax a bit with it and finally settle on a formation that actually works. But yeah. And obviously with them being successful, obviously the money, the cash rich pricks that they are, they'll probably find a way to probably make sure that they are in the grand final and win it. So yeah. 5 teams down, 1 more to go, and that is the new boys, the debutantes themselves, Auckland FC. History, obviously, the first New Zealand team in the history of Australian football to win a trophy. I know Wellington Phoenix and New Zealand Knights tried it for the last 19 years to win a trophy. and then how ironic, Auckland in the first time of trying ends up winning the whole thing. It ends up winning the Premier's Plate with a record of 14 wins. 15 wins, 8 draws, and only the 3 losses to their name. 49 goals scored, 27 goals conceded, with a goal differential of plus 22, and 53 points were scored. So if I can pull this thing up, here we go. So that is them being the only team that had have averaged over 2 points a game, just slightly over 2.04 points per game, and simple as this, they've not dropped out of the top 2 all year. Not once they dropped out of the top 2. They've been in second. They've been second for 4 weeks of the season. The rest, they were on top. Which is beyond ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous from a team that was in their first season, and it points also to their record against the other 5 finalists in the A-League this year. 11 games played. They had the record of 4, 5, and only 2 losses, which is insane there. Finals record, we don't need to get there because of their main finals appearance. Clean sheets, 11, equal to Manchester. Whoops! I just said Manchester. I was about to say Manchester City. Melbourne City. Thank you. Thank you, bro. So yeah. And then of course their top goal scorer is Geronimo May with 9 goals. Their top provider was Francis De Vries with 7 assists, and their most used formation was the 4-4-2 formation used by the legendary Steve Corica. So the question everyone asks, can these new boys go all the way? Now, as I said, they've not been out of the top 2 all year, and they've been the top team in the competition for a long time, for the majority of the season. What's the bet they do? I think that they, but finals are a different beast. Finals are a different beast, to be honest, than the regular, than the regular season. And I think for me, for me here, it's all about if they do get knocked out in the semi-final, it's not the end of the world, to be honest, because that would be a building block for them. I mean, if they make it to the grand final and win it, then I think it'll be the first time. It'll be also, I think, if they win as well, would that mean that they have the right to host the grand final, or does the grand final? Because I remember they had that stupid deal where for 6 years where they had to have all the grand finals for the A-League being in Sydney. I think. I don't know. I think if they would make it all the way to the grand final, they would have it. That they would have the A-League, grand final, host the A-League grand final, I should say, rather. So yeah, and I think I'll just. And then also, here we go. And then this was a article that was released just about probably about nearly 12 hours ago, it was announced that Go Media Stadium, aka Mount Smart Stadium, would increase in capacity for the finals. So they would add another two. So I think so it says here that the APL, which is the Australian Professional Leagues, which is the one that's in charge of the A League, the organisation was in charge of the A League. It says here that they've added just over over 2,500 seats to the north end at Mount Smart Stadium. I know it says Go Media Stadium, but I'm just going to say Mount Smart Stadium just for the lols. And then furthermore, it says here, if they progress to the grand final, there will be an extra 800 seats that will be added. So collectively, if they make the grand final, then that would be if I can do my maths. Do quick maths here. I say 100. That is about 3,500 seats that will be added. And I think the maximum capacity at Mount Smart Stadium, I can remember rightly, I think it's about 24,000. So just imagine that for a grand final, having 28,000 screaming New Zealand soccer fans going ballistic. Just imagine that. That would just be weird. That would just be absolutely weird as, to be quite honest with you there. But yeah. So that's all the teams right there. That's all the teams. That's all the teams there. Finally, let's go to predictions here. Western United and Adelaide United. I can see this going to extra time. I can definitely see this going to extra time. I think for me, Adelaide, I think Western United will just pimp it for free. I think it will just pimp them for free for me. And then the other game, the Wanderers and the Victory, I think for me, Western Sydney will win this 5-2. I think Melbourne Victory will be up to them in terms of scoring. There might be goal for goal there at some point, and then at some point maybe in the second half, Western Sydney just like stroll away and basically kick bang 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 and then game over. So yeah. So I think that will be that there, and I think it will be a 5-2 victory for the Western Sydney Wanderers against Melbourne Victory there. So that is it for this finals preview. It's not as in depth as probably a lot of others that do this, but I don't watch as much A-League as I said at the start. I don't watch as much A-League as I want to. So yeah, and the last question, probably you guys ask who's the favourite? Probably Auckland FC, but based on finals experience, I would have to say Melbourne City. Because based on ladder position and finals experience, I think it'll be Melbourne City, to be quite honest, with that. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for this video. Really, so like this video, share this to anybody who's an A-League fan. Comment down below. Do you want to see? Do you want me to do more A-League based content? I've got like EAFC /FIFA. I can do those. I'm aiming to do like preview every single week of the A-League finals, including the grand final. So yeah, and And finally, somewhere down there, click on the big red button which is labeled subscribe. It really does help me out quite a bit there as we continue on this like mad couple of months of sport which we are well and truly into, let's put it that way. But until next time, guys, I'm gonna have a drink and of this water, and I'll see you guys all later.